Alrighty. Looks like we're live. Yep. Looks like we are. Hi. Hope you're all doing okay. That you're doing good. Let me get the link out that we can begin. Hope that you're all doing well. Yeah, let me turn down the actual volume on my television's a little loud. There we go, that's better. Okay, now then. Let's pull up the link video. Alrighty. Copy link. Alright, excellent. Now let's get these links out. Here, 1 second, let me get this pulled up. There we go. Okay. Get the link on the Minds, and then we shall get to the Discord servers, and then we can begin. Do. There we are. Alright, links out on Minds. Now I'll get it out into the servers that we can begin. Excellent. Alrighty. Alrighty. Sorry, I'm just having a little trouble getting the right stuff pulled up. Let me... I think this is the last one. Yep, this is the last one. Alrighty, excellent. Now we're all set. Let me pull up the chat and we can begin. Hope you're all doing fine. I probably said the same thing 10 times already, but... well, this is how it is. Alrighty. Now let's continue on from where we left off. And so far, we've got the white-haired girl. We may have learned her name, though the game keeps referring to her as the white-haired girl. Her name's Giselle, and she has come across the mansion. It's the first story in the time period. It's as far back as we've gone, and according to the maid, this is where everything begins. So, she came to the mansion, and she met the mansion's master, Michael. And they're starting to open up to each other, just a slight bit. So, let's continue. Also, I do have to say, I never noticed this before, but it's nice that your more recent saves say new on it. That way, if you forget, you can tell. That's a nice little touch. Okay. Anyways, it had been about a week since the white-haired girl had taken up residence in the mansion. There we go, get the mic just a little closer. Staying in that house deprived of light was, I imagine, a very claustrophobic experience. To anyone blessed enough to have sunlight as part of their everyday lives, it would have been unbearable. But for her, the mansion, with its prison walls and lack of either illumination or recreation, was the one place she could find respite. Turn down the TV a little bit. Okay, there we go. She and Michael continued to be distant, however. He spent most of his time in his chambers, which he had explicitly told the white-haired girl to stay out of, leaving her unable to close that gap. Nonetheless, on the occasions they did cross paths in the hallway, their eyes would meet, if but briefly. It was never for more than a few seconds. Whenever she saw him, she made a point of giving him a little smile. He never said anything, but still, when she had first arrived, he would not have even met her gaze. He seemed to be taking more and more notice of her. One day, the white-haired girl stood in the cellar, a frown on her face. Well, this is troubling. I can't go down to the village, but if we don't do something soon... The cellar was where their food was stored, an assortment of non-perishables and dried foods, smoked meats, and cheeses. Her daily meals were taken from the supplies there. However, the stockpile was beginning to grow quite small. Were she not on the run, she could have gone to the village to procure more. Or perhaps, were she a little tougher, she could have captured a wild animal for its meat. But, Master, you know a young, delicate thing like her was hardly up to the task of hunting for food. How does he normally get his supplies, I wonder? From there, other questions about Michael started rising in her mind. No matter how lifeless he seemed, surely he has to eat, right? The white-haired girl nodded, then made her way out of the cellar, intending to head for his bedchamber. But on her way there, she spotted him standing by the entrance, staring motionless at the door, lit by a single candle. He appeared to be waiting for something. May I ask you a question? Go on. I was just down in the cellar, and I noticed we were running low on food. Do you normally go down to the village to restock? I haven't been outside in 10 years. Then how do you... What if I told you I don't eat? What? That I am not of this world. And as such, I have no need of sustenance. What would you think of that? That sounds very, economical? Yeah, you'd save a bit. If you can survive without having to eat, that's one less thing to worry about. If it were possible, I'd have to have that ability too. It would seem trying to frighten you is a waste of time. Was I supposed to be afraid? Never mind. It doesn't matter. You ask about the food in the cellar. It's getting to be about that time. Wait, and you'll find out. What do you... It's here. Oh? If you want to know where my supplies come from, open the door. But, I am in hiding. There's no one at the door anymore. The knock is nothing more than a signal. A signal? The white-haired girl turned out toward Michael to press him for more information, but he averted his gaze. Find the answer yourself, he seemed to be saying. She took several moments to gather her will, then marched over to the door. So bright. The sunlight, which she had not seen in some time, was so bright it seemed to burn her eyes. Although the sun itself hadn't gotten any brighter, she had simply spent too much time in the dark. Her eyes were no longer accustomed to that much light. The color of her eyes made them quite sensitive to the light already, so when she stepped outside, her whole world went bone white. The white-haired girl stood motionless for 10, perhaps 15 seconds, and when her eyes had finally adjusted to the light, "What's this?" She noticed a crate on the ground at her feet. She turned her head back to ask Michael about the box, but the mansion was so dark it appeared to be wholly severed from the outside world. From where she stood, she was unable to distinguish Michael from the shadows. A pang of nervousness struck her. She wanted to return to the darkness as quickly as possible. The white-haired girl had come to yearn for that world without light more than the one with. The crate was fairly hefty. The slightly built girl had considerable difficulty bringing it into the house. But eventually, she did manage to drag it through the front door. And then, everything went dark once more, except for that faint flicker of candlelight floating in the air. "You can leave it there." Pardon me. "I'll take care of the rest." What's... Without a word, Michael approached her in the box, withdrawing a knife that he had evidently kept hidden somewhere on his person. With it, he cut through the rope that bound the box. "Go on, open it up." At his insistence, she placed her hand upon the lid. She had no idea what lay inside the unexpected delivery. Whoever had brought it was already gone. Staring at the strange box, she was racked with nervousness. However, what she found when she pushed aside the lid was completely ordinary food. Is something amusing? It was just rather anticlimactic. Here I was, worried what might be inside. We were just talking about the supplies in the cellar. So, we were. It completely slipped my mind. This should last us for quite some time. It's all preserved, just like what's in the cellar. But I don't understand. Who delivered all this to you? There should be a book in there as well. What? Oh, there it is. So that's probably from his family, because his family sends him the books. Oh, yeah, look at that. In the library, he said that his family sends him one book a month. Does that mean this box came from them? If so, then why did the person who delivered this leave without speaking to him? What happened between him and his family? Is he here because they want him here? Or because he chose to be here? Take the book to the library, please. I'll bring the rest of the supplies to the cellar. But it's a big box. I'm sure you could use some help carrying it. That won't be necessary. Take the book and go. Oh. But... Fine, then stay here. I'll take care of everything. Wait, hold on, please. What is it? You don't have to answer this if you don't want to. And, I'm not trying to pry, but I can't help but be curious. Say what you have to say, please. I was wondering if you could tell me why you live here in the mansion. Why did whoever delivered this box leave before you even opened the door? Could you perhaps be imprisoned here? I told you the very first day, I am cursed. It's only natural for a cursed man to live in a cursed house. Yes, but, it's such a vague answer. I don't understand why you're in the situation you are. I don't know how you feel about it. And there's so much I don't know. And I'm not even sure if your curse actually exists. I see. That is a perfectly reasonable doubt, from your point of view. Having been branded with a witch because of your appearance, it would make sense that you would think my curse might be fabricated, or perhaps a metaphor for something else. All right then, come with me. What? I'll show you my curse. As he turned on his heels, the white-haired girl caught a glimpse of what appeared to be a smirk on his face, like the whole thing was some kind of sick joke. That smile carved into his mask was far colder than any look of annoyance or rejection. But despite the twinge of nervousness, she followed after Michael. As much as he might have stood out in a crowd with such height and long hair, his presence was almost entirely eroded away by the darkness. She felt he could simply fade away into nothingness at any moment. I would like them to address the fact, though, that he's got white hair and red eyes, too. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but I don't think they've addressed that yet. I just don't see it. Many things are buried here. Huh? Mice, insects, wild cats and dogs. Have you ever thought it's strange how little life there seemed to be around this mansion? You're right. I haven't seen a single creature since I arrived. The only sound you can hear is the wind blowing. Now that you mention it, it did seem peculiar. They were all killed by me. Or rather, they lost their lives because of me. You have your answer now. A butterfly fluttered its way into the ruined garden, dancing up and down through the air. Michael held out a finger before himself, and the butterfly, mistaking it for a branch, drifted down upon it to rest in its wings. Had the scene stopped there, it would have been a picturesque moment. All that comes into contact with me loses its life. My skin, the breath I exhale, my flesh and blood, is poison to all life. But the butterfly's movements began to slow. It spread its wings in one last, futile attempt to fight gravity, and then, without warning, it shriveled up into a dry husk. It's dead, all dried up and lifeless, like it's been dead for days. It's like his finger drained all the life out of it. Is this his curse? Is that even possible? But I saw it with my own eyes. If this is his curse, though, it explains much. There are more than just insect and animal corpses buried here, too. Servants who came to visit me long ago are here beneath the ground, under our very feet. That's why the servant leaves before I open the door. Should he touch me, Should he get near me, his very life is in danger. No one is interested enough in seeing me to take that risk. No one will have anything to do with me. Nary a soul even wishes to see my face. Now you understand what I meant when I said I would eventually kill you. So that's why you have never once touched me. When I knocked the books down in the library, you didn't offer your hand to help me up. And only one of us ever made contact with the box at the entrance at the time. When I offered to help you carry it, you refused. Because you didn't want your finger to accidentally brush against mine. My actions were not out of concern for you. I simply dislike people. Others' interests mean nothing to me. What an odd face you're making. Do you not believe my curse is real? No, I do. It is certainly irrational, inexplicable, unbelievable. But you've shown me more than enough evidence. And I don't believe you're lying to me right now either. In which case, you now understand how dangerous it is to be near me. You said that if you left, you would be killed. But it's been some time since then. If you're careful to cover your tracks, you could make your escape. You do not belong here. He was telling the truth about being cursed. What a cruel burden to have to bear. I can't imagine just how much he's given up on. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, it's not that he's unusual. It's probably that this is the culmination of a very long period of time of him just accepting. He's essentially a defeatist now. How many lives he's inadvertently taken. And how he must have felt every time it happened. How much pain that loneliness must have given him. How much despair he must carry in his heart. How much sorrow must be weighing down on him. So, no. I will not leave. I will stay here with you. Leave this place. No, I will not. Why? Why do you insist upon remaining at this house after learning what I can do? You have no reason to stay. Tell me then, why do you try to drive me out? If you don't care for others, as you say, if you're not concerned about anyone else, then what does it matter what I do? What does it matter if I die to your curse? You're a very kind-hearted man. You've been watching out for me since the day I arrived, doing whatever you can not to inadvertently kill me, to not afflict me with your curse. No. Here's what I think. No one capable of showing genuine care for others can honestly, truly dislike all people. They can't possibly be indifferent. No, The day we met before the stained glass window, you heard me out. You listened to my plight. You didn't try to chase me out. That day, I thought you'd be a good person. And I still believe that. I simply assumed you would leave on your own when it was safe. I never thought you would be so foolish as to want to stay in a house like this with a man like me. How does that make me foolish? Do you not value your life? Are you not afraid of death? Do you not find me unpleasant? The thing I fear most is loneliness. You're probably right that by now I could safely sneak away, get myself somewhere far from here. But even if I did, I would inevitably find myself in the same situation. The only way I can avoid that fate is to stay away from everyone, to live in solitude, with no one to talk to. I know you understand how that feels. It terrifies me. I'm afraid of having to spend day after day with no one to talk to, no one to share my experiences, my thoughts, my feelings with. If that's what waits me out there, then I want to live with you. I want you to be an essential part of my life. Impossible. Please, don't chase me out. You are a cruel girl. Never again will I allow myself to get close to someone, only to watch them die. Never again. My mother was the first to die. It happened shortly after my birth. Next was my wet nurse. 2 deaths could be considered a coincidence, but as the number rose, it became clear that I was cursed, and I was forbidden from making contact with anyone, even at home. Regardless, being in the same house, accidents will happen. Numerous people lost their lives. Attendants unfamiliar with me, or those who simply brushed up against me by mistake. I couldn't take it any longer. So you chose to move here, to this remote mansion, to keep yourself away from your family. You weren't imprisoned here. You elected to live alone, so you wouldn't hurt anyone. For better or for worse, I was born into a noble house. So rather than abandon me, they've provided me the means to live out of sight. I will be very careful. I will do everything I can to ensure no accidents occur, to keep you from being alone again. I will not, for any reason, touch you. You have my promise. Your curse takes the life of anything you touch. I've been here for a while, and death has not befallen me yet. As long as I do not touch you, there shouldn't be a problem. Also, I apologize if this is me reading too much into things, but I feel like we're 2 of a kind. I fear being utterly alone more than anything, and I think you understand just how scary that is. So, why are you so stubbornly insistent on being me? I'm sure there's someone else out there. Someone you're meant to be with. You may not have found them yet, but I believe someone like you eventually will. Because unlike me, you still have the vigor to press forward. It has to be you. I'm certain of it. Why? Because, you can't tell me? No, I can't. Please don't get upset with me. Huh? I think... I might really, really love you. That's, that happened quick. What the hell? 1 second, let me take a drink of water. Whew. All right, well, the maid did say they were both into each other, didn't she? His was a power that evoked images of witches or demons, the unclean and the impure. A mere touch was all it took for him to strip man and beast alike of its life. God has quite a cruel streak to bestow such power upon such a beautiful young man. And a strange power it was indeed, like something out of a fairy tale. Like something confined to words upon the page, it seemed otherworldly, unbelievable. Nonetheless, as he had demonstrated to the white-haired girl, his peculiar powers were indeed real. That said, the world has its fair share of oddities. It just so happens that those curiosities tend to remain hidden away, known only to a few. Although, you have laid eyes upon a number of unusual phenomena yourself, Master. The doors to the past through which we have passed. This very mansion. And, as a matter of fact, the two of us. Now, as you just saw, the white-haired girl found herself enraptured with this man and his accursed power. How do you think Michael acted in response to her proclamation? He had spent so long refusing to interact with others, no, unable to interact with them. As such, he was unsure how to respond. After standing there expressionless for a few moments, he muttered, "I'll consider it." And with that, he returned to his chambers. While he was not someone who wore his heart on his sleeve, I personally do not believe he was completely devoid of emotions. He had simply forgotten how to express them in his extended solitude. So I think he was, in the moment, in a state of complete panic. She had, after all, just assaulted him with a stream of incomprehensible declarations. That, knowing the truth, she still wished to remain in the mansion, and that, knowing the truth, she loved him. The love she had declared for Michael was not a fleeting puppy love. There was a genuine tenderness and warmth into her words. But he had gone through his life shunned, feared, pushed away. To him, that was normal. He had never given anyone any reason to have any fondness for him, so he found himself utterly unsure how to take the affection she was showing. Of course, he was not the only one rattled by the whole affair. Oh dear. Several days had passed since Michael had asked for time to think. He had still not to show himself again. This is all my fault. The white-haired girl paced anxiously through the halls on the off chance she might run into him. As per his request, though, she kept her distance from his chambers. Nevertheless, she was beginning to worry about the fact that he had secluded himself away for so long, so she worked up her courage and made her way to his room. What if he doesn't want to see me ever again? I did consider I might be overstepping my bounds before opening my mouth. Every step she took was slow and laborious. Her mind raced with worry and doubt. I should at least tell him I'm sorry. Rather than out of the desire to know how he felt, she was compelled by the guilt and a desire to apologize. After walking for some time, she arrived at a door sitting in an utterly unlit hallway. She drew in a breath of musty air and then let it out, repeating the process several times. Next, she reached her hands up to knock on the door and then pulled it back, also doing this a number of times. Oh, how adorable she was. I wanted nothing more than to give her a little nudge. After all, she was too sweet a girl from her worries to be anything but misplaced. I just can't find the courage. Maybe I should come back another day. But what's the point of waiting? I need to apologize to get this weight off his back now. She gathered her courage once more, then determined she would do it. The white-haired girl moved her small fist toward the door, which then swung open. Huh? Ah! Uh, uh, um, I'm sorry. Please, you must announce your presence. I almost walked right into you. Are you in that much of a hurry for a mishap? I'm sorry. And I believe I told you to stay away from my chambers. You did. I spent a long time debating whether I should, but I decided I really wanted to tell you this. Oh, well, actually, I'm truly sorry. What? The other day, I could barely manage to get the words in my head all the way into my mouth. There was no room in my mind for anything else. I shoved my own thoughts and feelings into your face, not considering that it might not be what you wanted. Just running nonstop, not thinking at all. I was terribly disrespectful to you, completely selfish. You're a kind-hearted man. I truly believe that. But you were only being courteous because you're a nice man. I'm sure you have the little interest in the affections of a queer little girl. So, I would love it if I could stay here. It would be such a wonderful blessing. But if you really don't want me here, if my feelings are opposing upon you, then I apologize. I'm sorry, and I'll take my leave of this house. I'm sorry. Don't be. My mind went blank for a moment. What? I find it difficult to comprehend you. The other day, you were firm in your intentions to stay, and now you say you'll leave without a struggle. You holed up in your room for so long that I thought, you didn't want me around. To be honest, I want to stay here. I do. I think you should do whatever pleases you. Huh? You can stay, or you can leave. I will not pressure you to do one or the other. So, I'm not imposing? To tell you the truth, I had to think about that for some time. However, I've now come to something of a solution. Since you're here, come into my room. What? But I thought I wasn't allowed to. To prevent what almost happened a few moments ago, so we don't accidentally run into each other. Sorry. Ugh. You're forgiven. Now come in. Okay. Is this a necklace? If that's what it looks like to you, then I suppose that means I succeeded. Pick it up. Huh. It has a little bell. Oh, that's funny. It's adorable. Please make an effort to wear that while you're in the house. Because it's so dark, there will always exist the risk that we might accidentally bump into one another. So I tried to come up with a way to reduce that risk. Does that mean you didn't leave your room because you were working on this? That's right. What other reason would I have? I think most people would assume it was because you had put in a bad mood or you didn't want to see them. I have little sense of how most people see the world. Sorry. I appreciate it, though. I'm really glad to know that you put so much thought into a life together with me. It would be difficult not to, after the other day. I'm so happy right now. I can't think of any better word to describe it. I couldn't be happier. You're being dramatic. To tell you the truth, I feel a little bad about it. Why? It seemed rather impertinent to affix a bell to someone. You're not livestock. You're a person. That's why you turned it into a necklace? Thank you very much. I'll keep it on me at all times. I really, truly appreciate it, Lord Michael. Don't call me Lord, please. Alright then, I'll just call you Michael. And will you please call me Giselle? The windows. What? If we could open the windows... Never mind. I was just thinking you wouldn't need the bell at all if we could get some light in here. They can't be opened. They're rusted shut. All the windows have been shuttered for as long as I've been here. I assumed you had them boarded all up. That was done long before I arrived. After so many years here, though, I hardly consider it an inconvenience anymore. It also serves to repel wanderers. Oh, really? Is there something odd about that? No. It's just, I realized I had the wrong impression about a number of things. As I learn more, I see things in a different light. See you in a different light. And I'm sure there's still plenty more for me to learn. Of all the people I've ever met, you are perhaps the most difficult to predict. Not only do you have no aversion to the darkness, the dark has always been a close friend of mine. Which isn't to say I dislike the sun. Its light can simply be a bit too strong for me. I'm like some kind of unholy monster that can't be exposed to sunlight. You are anything but unholy. My name would suit you. Much better than me. Okay, so they're building up their relationship a little bit. What is that noise? The hell? Huh. Okay. That day, when I first saw Giselle, I was weary of her, apprehensive. I didn't want her anywhere near me. But, as my doubts about her faded, I began feeling something very different. As though the lump in my heart had been melted away. I began to yearn for her to be by my side, knowing full well it couldn't possibly last, knowing full well how foolish it was. I found myself captivated by her. I found myself wishing to have her stay with me. The hell? Are we the character starting to wake up a bit? Is something coming back? It was a bizarre editing choice. Anyways. And that marked the true beginning of their quiet days together in the dark mansion. They acknowledged and accepted each other's presence, no longer isolating themselves, but actively, regularly conversing. As mundane as it may have seemed, it was something they had been unable to attain until then. Nevertheless, they were still somewhat fumbling around in the dark with one another, drawing closer and pushing away again. Michael, in his own ungraceful way, was beginning to open himself up to the things she said. And the white-haired girl was beginning to smile with greater frequency. I still don't understand why we're still calling her that, despite us knowing her name. There's got to be something there. They had taken to dining together, and her wish of learning to read was being granted. He taught her in the feeble light of a candle placed upon the table, the two sitting across from one another. Though Michael seemed to be well educated, he had not been instructed into the art of teaching, so he found the process quite grueling. But to the white-haired girl, the longer it took, the better. Her primary objective was, after all, to spend time with him. The days passed, and eventually, she reached the point where her comprehension was adequate enough without assistance. Her next request, then, was for them to read through a book together. Have you read every book in the library? No. I stopped looking at them after a while. Most everything I sent is dull, uninformative dreck. The Diary of a Lord, foolish make-believe tales. You're not fond of fiction, I take it. What value is there in lies and fantasies of another? Stories can be invigorating. Tales of adventure can take you to places you could never go. Legends of heroes, folklore, stories of otherworldly phenomena. They can be terrifying, and they can be exhilarating. They may not be real, but they give you a little glimpse into the author's heart. Let you feel like you're seeing the same thing they saw. You're a very empathetic girl. Fiction inspires nothing of the sort in me. However, perhaps long ago, it may have been able to, though I can no longer remember what it feels like. I'm sure it'll come back to you. You're not an empty man. Sorry. I'm making you uncomfortable again. How about we read this book today? It appears to be a collection of legends. You haven't read this one yet, then? That's good to hear. It'll be more enjoyable if it's a new experience for the both of us. It looks like it's a record of local legends. The book is divided into several sections, though it appears to be mostly superstitions. I am curious what kind of stories this area has. The two of them were looking down at a simple, undecorated volume. As the white-haired girl had said, it seemed to be a collection of local legends passed down generation to generation. They sat across from one another at the table, her turning the pages, and Michael simply watching so as to not brush against her. Eventually, her eyes were drawn to a particular word on one of the pages, bringing her hands to a stop. The witch. That chapter detailed the story of a witch, or more precisely, said witch's curse. The story went something like this. All right. There once was a witch, skilled in the dark arts. She lived a meager but peaceful life alongside the other villagers. But then, long drought struck the village, which the people blamed on the witch. The witch was sentenced to death, and as fire blazed around her, smoke rose high into the air. The smoke soon became rain clouds, blessing the village with an end to the drought. The crops were revitalized, and the villagers fancied themselves heroes. However, the rain also brought madness upon the people. Though the earth below them was lush and fertile, the villagers were losing their minds, and they eventually began to take each other's lives. The witch still lived on, in the form of a curse. Many fell victim to the witch's curse, though it did not only take, It also fulfilled people's desires. The villagers had gone mad, but their wish for freedom from the drought had been granted. Thus, the legend has been passed down as follows. The witch will grant you your wish in exchange for a great sacrifice. As smoke in the sky, she watches down upon us from above. To reach the witch, climb for the heavens, but know that the road is a road to destruction. People still believe the witch's legend even now, I suppose. And that's why I face accusations of being a witch. This is not an area very welcoming to outsiders, especially one who stands out as much as you. What brought you to this region in the first place? Mine's a story you've probably heard before. I was cast out of my house. I come from a very poor family. We could barely even afford to keep everyone fed. Being as weak as I am, it was only natural that I would be the first to go. I see. What I don't understand, though, is why the witch is said to grant people's wishes. That is to say, she had the reason enough to hold a grudge, but not to give people things they asked for. All we have to go on is a few pages. There's no saying that what might have been changed or added over time. It's almost certain the entire legend isn't written here. That said, if we were to accept everything as written, you can infer what the witch's reasons might have been. And that is, if you truly want it that much, you can have it. But I'll make certain your suffering outweighs it. Despair that comes after a moment of happiness is far more agonizing than despair alone. I presume that is why the witch decided to grant people's wishes. That is one way to look at it. May I ask you something? Go on. When I first arrived here, you told me that a cursed witch used to live in this mansion. After reading this legend, I'm now finding it hard to believe that you made that up simply to scare me away. I appropriated the tale, nothing more. It is said the witch was born in this house. What? Quite the place my family found me. But it was a clever decision putting me here, I think. Not many people are likely to come near a house with such a pedigree. But no, never mind. That makes sense. I suspect I knew what she was going to say then. If the witch is about to grant wishes, then wouldn't that also attract people who are desperately wanting something? They do not care for what price they must pay. And perhaps she was correct. Perhaps there had been those who had come to the mansion chasing after the legend, and perhaps they had encountered Michael, touched him, and lost their lives. On that day in the garden, he had said, "Many things are buried here." Perhaps that included such visitors. I wonder if that story might be more than mere superstition. If the witch of the legend really did exist, what would you do? It might be nice to talk to her, maybe. That's all, really? I feel a little bad for her, though. The only people who ever visit her are those to ask for something, after all. I can only imagine just how lonely that must be. I swear, I cannot comprehend the way your mind works. So sorry. Although, if we assume the legend is true, I have an idea of what climb for the heavens might mean. Oh? The mansion has an observation tower. Or, I suppose, what used to be an observation tower. At any rate, it is quite a tall structure.
This is the house where the witch was supposedly born. A tower reaching to the heavens seems like the perfect place to find her, if she really is here. Oh yes, I remember seeing a rather tall structure as I first approached the mansion. Would you like to see it? Of course. Please, lead the way. The two of them left the library and made their way to the room with the stained glass window. At the far end of the room were the stairs to the observation tower. The tale of the witch had piqued the white-haired girl's interests, inspiring her to push herself forward to satisfy that curiosity. She had, after all, been accused of being a witch herself, so she undoubtedly felt an affinity to the legend. What a sweet girl she was. With Michael in the lead, the two climbed a long, long spiral staircase. There were many more stairs than the white-haired girl had anticipated, and she soon found herself short of breath. Rectangular windows were carved out of the stone in regular intervals. Peering through one of them, she could see a village in the distance. A pleasantly cool, high-altitude breeze brushed across her face. After much climbing, they finally arrived at the top, where a door made of partially rotted wood stood. Michael pulled open the door, revealing a small room with no windows or doors in sight.
This looks like the image from the story from the first door.
This is the top of the tower? Despite it being an observation tower, you could hardly observe anything from there. Her face contorted in confusion, the white-haired girl threw her gaze about the room. Glancing up, she saw only a darkened ceiling, and, slightly below it, a single small window through which shone a little ray of light. The beam cleaved through the darkness like the sharpened blade of a beautiful sword. The darkness draped over the rest of the room only served to make more impressive that solitary ray of light.
Yeah. Forgive me. Let me take a sip of water. Holy shit. Whew.
It had a magical, fairy tale quality to it. As if being pulled in by it, she drew toward the light. I suspect there was once a large window in this room. If you look closely, you can see the seams in the stone on the wall. The color of the stone differs slightly on the other side of the seams. I presume something caused them to seal off the window after it was built, though I don't know what that something might be.
That's our first look at her in this chapter. Shoot. See the... God, the artwork in this game is beautiful.
When Michael's eyes fell upon the white-haired girl wrapped in that beam of light, he sputtered to a stop. The man who had never flinched at anything, who had long since distanced himself from such stirrings of the heart, was utterly bewitched. He had never seen her illuminated so vividly before, and he was having a great deal of trouble finding the words to describe her striking beauty. For someone who had been chased out of her home and accused of being a witch, the white-haired girl looked less like a practitioner of the dark arts, and more like one of the hosts of heaven. Michael undoubtedly felt the same way, for his gaze was fixed firmly upon her. Dazzling, isn't it? Like a staircase leading to heaven. Yes, perhaps so. Is something the matter? No, I'm fine. You know, it feels like there's something odd in the air here. It feels like someone might actually be listening. If the wish were to speak to you, what would you say to her? I would ask her to tell me her true feelings, to tell me what kind of person she was, and what kind of pain she had to endure. I just want to know what she felt. This woman people branded a witch. The legend was written from a neutral perspective. It's possible she was a fearsome witch. It's also possible she wasn't. I get the feeling she was just persecuted, like me. Like me and you. Unlike you, I truly am impure. Disagree all you want, but my touch kills. I'm a strange, incomprehensible, irrational creature. Or maybe I'm not even a living being. And that's why when I touch something that is, I bring them to death. If only I actually were a witch. If only I actually had some kind of extraordinary power. Regardless of whether it came from God or the devil, then I would be able to grant people's wishes. My wish not need to be granted. But it's what I want to. I'm sorry. It's what I want to. Okay. I wish to be able to touch you. I would be perfectly content with nothing changing, with us never being able to touch one another. I would be more than happy with that. But I'm allowed to dream, aren't I? It doesn't have to be in this life. I pray the day will come when we can get closer, even if it has to happen in another life. Happiness is very much a stranger to me, but am I allowed to dream too? You are. I will never touch you. I swear it. But I would like to dream about it. I would like to imagine placing my hand upon your cheek. You can. Reach your hand out for me. Oh, God, no, don't kill her, please. Oh, shit. This is a door in this mansion. Something has to go wrong at some point. Oh, my God. Now, I can't believe I didn't think about that. Never came up in my head yet. Damn. This cute little romance is gonna end bad. Oh boy, that's not good. I will imagine it too. I am imagining your fingers running through my hair, brushing up against my skin. I can feel your warmth. Oh, okay. So he didn't actually touch her. I'm just yeah, I'm getting nervous because it's every story so far has been a tragedy, and if this is the one that started it all, then this one's gonna be no exception. Oh boy. Anyways, there was a wall between them, a wall they could not cross, for if they did, it would mean the white-haired girl's death. No matter how much they yearned for it, they could not touch one another, so they did so within the confines of their imagination, envisioning it as much detail as they could manage. It was sad, but sweet, a moment of pristine, untainted beauty. The two of them emanated serenity, as fitting as the word cursed might have been to the mansion as a whole. At the top of the observation tower, a pure bond was being shared. A fleeting moment between a young man with a cursed touch and a kind-hearted, beautiful girl. The dream did not last long. No, for God is quite cruel. They simply wanted to be together. That was all. Their wish was hardly unreasonable. Only a quiet, peaceful life together. But misfortune was creeping ever nearer, its footsteps growing more and more pronounced.
Yep. Oh, God. A knock at the door, that's not a good way to begin, unless it's just the supplies, hopefully. Ooh.
Is someone at the door? The flow of time was hazy within the mansion's walls. They had little way of telling whether it was night or day, preventing them from knowing exactly how much time had passed.
I've also noticed we have not seen the maid yet in this area. Is this where the maid? Is this where the maid makes her entrance as well?
The white-haired girl had made a habit of climbing the observation tower every so often to see whether the sun was up, which allowed her to approximate the time of day. Consequently, when she had heard the knock at the door, she was not aware how deep the night was outside, that forest and beast alike lay quietly at rest.
Oh, forgive me.
Oh, right. The stores in the cellar are almost exhausted. It must be this month's delivery. Not thinking it was worth bothering Michael over, she made her way out of her chambers and headed for the entrance. There had only been a single knock, leading her to conclude that, as before, the servant had simply left the box outside the door. So without a second thought, she opened the door, and there she saw a strange, vagrant man standing in the moonlight. His clothes were tattered, his bearded face bony and emaciated. She gasped, shrinking back several paces. The heavy door began to swing shut, but the man forced it open, glaring down at her with unfocused eyes and mumbling.
Are ye the witch that granted people's wishes?
It was in that moment that the white-haired girl realized she had been careless. The man had sought out the mansion because he believed the legend of the witch. And he did not seem particularly right of mind, either. Perhaps a result of wandering through the forest for several days. Or perhaps it was because he was so beaten down that he thought to ask for a witch's help. In a word, he seemed mad. No. There is no witch here.
Sure there is. Don't ye lie to me. I can hear the witch's voice. She led me to this house.
I promise you there isn't. Now please, be on your way.
Have you any idea how long it took to find this place? How many days I've gone without food or water? And you're telling me to get lost?
I don't know what you want from me. I'm happy to give you a little food, so please. Is there really no witch? There's no witch here. It's nothing but a legend. If she does exist, she doesn't live here. I see. Then that means you're just an ordinary person. Hmm? Just a person, just a girl. Is there anything you can do? No, get away from me. What are you doing? Why waste my time waiting for you to give me a little grub when I can just take it all? I'm starving here. I'm so hungry I could eat human. You're about to commit a grievous sin. Are you not ashamed to act in defiance of God? God? If I believed in God, would I come begging to a witch? I don't fear him, as sure as hell don't fear people. Who's gonna show up at this house in the middle of nowhere? Who's gonna call me out? Who's gonna stop me? No one, that's who. No one's gonna stop me, and no one's gonna offer me salvation. Ah, there's a thought. You're a woman, so before I kill you... What are you doing? What? There's other people here. Huh? The white-haired girl lay pinned on the floor beneath the yelling bandit, pleading for help with her ruby eyes. As soon as Michael grasped the situation, he tossed his candlestick aside and leapt for the man. The candlestick gave a sharp clang when it hit the floor. The impact extinguished the flame, bringing the mansion to near-perfect darkness. Something glinted in the bandit's hand, and then, without hesitation, he thrust it at Michael. Michael! Oh, stupid must you be to come at me unarmed. In his hand, the man held a knife, its tip dripping with Michael's blood. Red spilled from the gash in his arm, and the flow growing heavier from each passing moment. You're the only other person here, by the looks of it, eh? Perfect. I'll take you both out. You? What? You don't appear to know whose house you try to break into. What are you on about? Regret your ignorance to your very last breath. You're messed up in the head, you madman. Look who's talking. Hey, stay the hell back. Take one more stepping on. Huh? I inherited the witch's curse. Let go! Michael clutched the man's face in one hand. The man raised his knife to strike back, but... What is happening? The strength drained from the man's fingers, the knife falling to the floor. The man writhed in Michael's grip. My face! My face! I can't breathe! Leave this place immediately. Though you won't get far afflicted with my curse. Helpless to fight back. Nay, helpless to even consider fighting back. The bandit fled from the mansion in terror. In his wake, only the white-haired girl had been, and a bleeding Michael remained. I just saw a man's life drained from him. His face was withering away, sucked completely dry. I didn't doubt him, but, dear God, that was quite disturbing for you, I'm sure. No, no, not at all. It's my fault anyway. If I hadn't been so careless. Oh, your arm. We need to get that wrapped up. Please, don't touch me. You mustn't touch me. The wound is hardly fatal. It's all my fault. I'm so sorry. No, a degree of the blame falls on me for saying nothing. Next time someone comes to the door, let me know. I'm sorry. Please, you don't need to apologize. Well, yes. For once, I'm actually proud of myself. Proud that I could use the terrible ability of mine to do something more than just take life. To protect someone I care about. So like I said, please don't apologize. All right. Thank you. Michael? I'm glad you're here. I care about you too. Thank you. I was gonna say, like, I mean, obviously this would be considered a negative thing to happen, but when that was happening, I was kind of surprised that it looked like they... Like, I guess it wasn't blatant that it was going to happen, but I was, like, wondering, like, oh, are we going to do the negative twist already? You know, it's like, it seems like we haven't been on this door for very long. Had the flame of Michael's candle not gone out when he drew it to the floor, he would have seen a heartfelt smile on the white-haired girl's face, and she would have seen a flush of red and an awkward smile on Michael's normally blank face. He also might have seen a little glimmer on her cheek, where a few drops of his blood had landed. But alas, they had no light. Okay. I'm wondering where this will go, though, other than them just kind of falling for one another. I mean, I'm going to guess that eventually he's going to touch her. But something tells me that... Remember that we saw the silhouette when we were exploring the rooms? And I'm pretty certain that... Okay, I don't want to say I'm certain, but I'm starting to really think that we, the character, are Michael. And my guess is that... I'm feeling confident that I'm feeling confident that we are Michael, and then when we were exploring the mansion, we went to that room, we saw this version of the white-haired girl, or Giselle. So, I don't know. But anyways, I'm wondering if they're possibly going to find a way where they can touch one another. But even at that, what would the tragedy be? It can't last happy. And, you know, like we've already gone over, this is apparently the one that starts it all. So, where does it go? I don't know. That's the thing, it's like, I wonder what more is going to happen besides them just falling for each other. I really, unlike the other ones, like, I really just don't know where this is going. The collapse of their happiness came slowly, gradually. Perhaps it was because she had touched his blood instead of his skin. But the deterioration of the white-haired girl's health crept along at a relaxed pace. Fuck. Of course it comes after I just said all that. Oh, man. Don't rip my heart out now. The life was not sucked out of her in the blink of an eye, as it had been from the bandit. She merely grew progressively less and less healthy. Amidst her physical decay, she was bestowed with one blessing. Her beauty remained untouched. But as far as blessings went, surely there were others she could have been granted. Could God have not picked something a little better for her? By the time the two of them realized what was happening, it was already too late. The white-haired girl had grown so weak, she could hardly leave her bed. Yes? Oh, you were there. But she seemed lively when we were going around the mansion, if that was her. Okay, so, and this seems to be really early for her to be ill. So maybe that they're gonna find a way to get her out of this. Let's see. Oh, there you are. Oh, fuck. That's not what she said at all. Oh, you are there. I am. Thank goodness. I can't see very well anymore. How could this happen? I thought I had saved you, but no, I did the exact opposite. Please, don't talk that way. You did save me that day. But you're on the cusp of death now, and it's my fault. Because of this curse I bear. How? How could this happen? Why did this have to happen? What am I? Why was I given this body? Michael. Can I, ask you a favor? Go ahead. Stay with me, please. As much as you can. Until the very end. I was going to do as much anyway. Thank you. I'm happy, Michael. Happier than I've ever been. And I mean that. You didn't just save my life. You saved me. I've been saved. But only me. I wonder how he'll handle things when I'm gone. If only I hadn't opened the door that day, I wouldn't be leaving him all alone. And we could be happy together for even longer. Yes? Would you please hold my hand? Oh, fuck. Oh, man. I think it's probably safe now. I will not. I cannot touch you. If I do, I might take what remains of your life. Take your beauty away and force you to die hideous. I cannot touch you. What's going on here? Ooh. I'm guessing because those are digital looking effects, I'm wondering if that's inferring that we're gaining memories back or something. Owned ear. It. Her. On his way back from the washroom several days later, Michael heard muffled voices. Got it? Am good. He was having trouble making out what they were saying, but he could tell it was several men, and they were outside the front door. The fact that he could hear them all the way through the heavy door meant they were probably shouting quite loudly. As indestructible sense of uneasiness came over him. Dread. He drew nearer to the door and focused on the voices on the other side. They grew clearer, enough for him to make out what the men were saying.
Everything's in place. We're ready to kill this witch now. This is definitely the place. I can't talk. That half-dead bandit said she was in this mansion. Listen well. No matter what we find in there, we kill it. It could be a child for all I care. That doesn't change anything. Kill the witch. Kill the witch. Kill the witch. Huh?
What he heard beyond the door was a group of men shouting for the death of the witch. In that moment, Michael regretted his decision to let the bandit go free, and now watch over him until the moment of his demise. He must have made his way down to the village in search of help, where he revealed what he had found at the mansion.
Damn it!
But it was too late. Regret would solve nothing. He could neither stop the villagers from raiding the house, nor could he stop the white-haired girl from dying to the effects of his curse. He was helpless to do anything. The gears of his fate had locked him onto a path of tragedy, and were turning mercilessly onward.
Huh?
The men had begun trying to break down the door when he had sounded like a battering ram. While the first strike was not enough to breach the barrier, it was still quite powerful. He was certain it would not hold for long. Michael's mind raced. Was there anything he could do about this predicament? How could he escape from the corner he had been backed into? Despite his possessing inhuman powers, he would be powerless against a full mob of adult men. The villagers almost certainly came armed as well. Michael? A weak voice came from behind him. Aghast, he spun around to find the white-haired girl stumbling toward him. She breathed heavily, leaning against columns for support.
What are you doing out here? You'll only worsen your condition by exerting yourself.
I had a sinking feeling, and I heard noises on my way here. It seems that I have brought all my misfortune upon you.
Don't say that.
If I hadn't come here, this never would have happened. You never would have been in any danger. Please, Michael, hand me over to the men outside.
Absolutely not. I will do no such thing.
They're here for the witch, aren't they? I'm guessing they're the same people who were chasing me before. The village had a poor harvest this year, I hear. Like the village in the legend. And they believe it's the witch's curse.
But you're not a witch.
They need someone to fill the role, though. So please, hand me over, and then escape on your own.
I could never.
Please, Michael.
I'm the one who's cursed, not you. And you want me to hand you over? What would I have left then?
Nothing.
Not a thing. I would have nothing. After so long, I finally found someone who isn't afraid of me, who won't run. I have no interest in a world that would take you away from me, make me live alone once more. The hell with such a world.
Michael.
Would you be willing to die with me?
If that's what you wish, then stay with me till the very end. I probably wanted to hear that just as much as him. No, not probably. I did. I wanted to have someone at my side as much as him. It's so lonely not having anyone. To live alone, to die alone, to not have anyone watching over you, for no one to even know you're dead. I simply wanted someone to tell me they're here for me, to be there, to hold my hand. How wonderful would that be? The sense of utter relief it would bring would be enough to cast away all that pain, to allow me to accept all our suffering. So please, tell me you'll... Michael and the white-haired girl chose to spend their final moments at the top of the observation tower. They could hear the crash of the battering ram against the door, the shouts of the men, and their stomping feet. But despite all that, the ray of light shining through the little window was as beautiful as always. The room's air of serenity remained unimpeached. After the long climb to the top, the white-haired girl was terribly out of breath. Michael considered several times offering his hand, but the possibility that doing so might rob her of her last scraps of life stayed in his mind. It sounds like they broke down the door. I'm glad we made it up here when we did. I'm so sorry for asking this of you. Don't be. I would have chosen here for my final moments as well. This is the one place in this mansion with any sunlight. The one place I can get a good look at you. Thank you. I'm truly glad I was able to end up here. That I was able to meet you. And more than anything, that you said you cared about me. Have I managed to become an essential part of your life? Do you even need to ask? I wouldn't be here otherwise. I feel the same way as you. I'm sure of it. The two of us are more similar than you probably care to admit. Can I ask you one more thing? Go on. Would you embrace me? If this is to be the end, if this is to be my last chance, then I don't want it to end without being able to touch you. Please, don't refuse me this, Michael. Just do it, please. I won't keep you waiting long. Thank you. The truth is, I always wanted this. I dreamed of being able to hold you. I dreamed of it too. Thank you. I'm so very... She's still so beautiful. What a cruel joke. Could you not have given us some other miracle? One that would allow us to both survive? Where are you? Where'd you get off to? I can't find her, damn it. Hey, there's some stairs over here. They lead up. Beneath the single ray of light, the white-haired girl laid completely still. Not even a frail sigh escaped her closed lips. She remained as gorgeous as ever. It was as though she had simply fallen asleep in the sunlight. Looking down upon her, Michael determined to do one thing. I will not allow anyone to sully this sight. He gave a fleeting glance back to her pristine corpse, then opened the door and stepped through it alone. He would protect that room where she lay.
Hey, there's someone up here. So this is where you've been hiding, you infernal witch. Wait, that's not the girl.
The raucous sound of their footsteps rang from below.
Yeah, I can't talk.
Shortly thereafter, the men themselves came into view. As he had expected, they were heavily armed. He glowered at the men, then sucked in a deep breath and shouted at the top of his lungs.
I am the witch you seek. I have inherited her curse, and it is I who brings calamity upon you. You hear that? But he's a man or woman, it doesn't matter. Death to anyone who has ties to the witch. Cleanse this earth of all impurity. Kill him! Kill him! Kill him!
Michael did not flinch at the sight of the men. He stood unyielding between them and the door. He did not flinch when they raised their weapons against him, nor when they pierced his body.
Die and take your curse with you. I have no need for this life any longer. It's all yours.
I am cursed. To kill even that which I wish to protect. But, at the very least, I could protect one thing before my life is done. Not even one of you will leave this place.
Wither and die by my curse.
The blood spilling from his skewered body flowed down the stairs, down and down like a little river, soaking the feet of every single man who had stormed the mansion. This was the last thing he saw before the final grains of life slipped between his fingers, which brought a faint smile to his lips.
What? What? Holy, is she? Oh my God, she's alive. Holy shit. Oh, oh my God. That's... Wow. Oh my God. I was not expecting that. I was going to say, it's tragic, but it seems to be ending really early compared to the other stories, but oh my God, I'm really curious where this is going to go.
Neither of them had expected what happened next, though, for God has a most twisted sense of humor.
Oh shit. Oh my God, holy shit. Oh, that's so, oh my God. If he dies and she doesn't, oh my God. Oh, that's, damn.
The white-haired girl had not miraculously passed away without being robbed of her beauty. Why am I still alive? She had, rather, not passed away at all. Quite cruel of him, was it not? Michael?
Oh my God.
Where have you gone, Michael? Michael. I smell blood.
Uh-huh.
For had he allowed her to die, she would not have been made to witness the scene that awaited her. No, no. And I am sure you know just what it was she laid eyes upon in that moment. The ravaged corpse of her beloved. A torrent of blood streaming down, down, down the spiral staircase, and the sickening stench it raised. No, why? And his was not the only body. The villagers who had assaulted the mansion had been subjected to his curse. The life drained from their withered shells. Why did this? Michael, why? Why am I the only one still alive? That is a question I cannot answer either. Perhaps his curse did not affect those he loved, as terribly cruel as that might be. I cannot say. Why? You said we would go together. A world without you has no meaning. Had she actually expended her life there in the room at the top of the tower, perhaps this tale could have had a happy ending. She would have at least been able to have the man she loved at her side until her very last moments upon this earth. But that was not what had transpired. She had survived, been left utterly alone. I left a profound pity for the miserable girl. How are you seeing this, though? So I called out to her. Oh, okay. So the maid, okay, so here's where the maid comes in. So I called out to her. Would you like to see him once more? Oh! 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 So the maid is the witch. Oh! Though, why do we still not refer to her as the white-haired girl as Giselle, I wonder? What's about to go down here? What? I have the power to help you meet him again. Who's there? Where are you? You know what they call this mansion. So who do you suppose remains on these grounds? No way. You're from the legend. You actually exist. Now, I ask you a simple question. Would you like to see him again? The witch grants people's wishes, but at a price. I said I wouldn't ask her for assistance if I met her, but that's all changed. Now that I've lost him. If it's truly possible, then yes, I want to see him. Bring him back to life. Regrettably, I cannot directly meddle with the forces of life and death. However, I can guarantee you this. Your reconstruction. Reconstruction? Correct. To ensure that you remain as yourself in future lives, and are not reborn as someone else. Your body and mind shall be reconstructed. Aha! So she does reincarnate, okay. As shall his. Oh!
They can see each other all the time, but it's always a tragedy. Oh, oh, that is so messed up. Wow.
If you sincerely wish to reunite with one another, if you genuinely need each other in your lives, you will eventually meet again. All I can promise you is eternal reconstruction. What you make of it is up to you. You want to see him again, don't you? You want to hear his voice again, don't you? You want to feel his hand up on your cheek once more, don't you? If that's what you want, then you must remain who you are. If you are simply reborn, it wouldn't be you. So there wouldn't be any point, would there? Me, as I am, and he, as he is. Make up your mind quickly. I will not wait long. I want to see him again. As you wish, sweet little girl. I shall grant you both eternal reconstruction, and pray with all my heart that you can attain true happiness.
Oh.
Shortly thereafter, the white-haired girl took her own life. She decided she had nothing to gain by remaining in the present time, and in order to reunite with Michael, she needed to make her own way to her next life. And thus, the mansion was left bereft of a master, to travel slowly through the ages until someone came along to give it life once more.
Oh my God.
But an unfathomable amount of time has passed, and the two have yet to still unite. And the two have still yet to reunite. Have they, Master? You know now who you are, do you not?
I'm guessing we're Michael.
You remember everything now, do you not? You were present in every single era. The reason for which, as I described in the previous tale, because you yearned to be reunited with someone. But that person never showed up in any era.
Okay. No, then we are... Okay, so no, we are Giselle then.
And poor sweet you, having no memory of any of that, lived those lives with other men. Is it any surprise misfortune befalls those eras then? The door swung closed. But rather than go outside, you and the maid were inside the dull, monochrome room at the top of the observation tower. The awe-inspiring ray of light shone not through the lone window high above the stone wall. Wrapped in a curious, impenetrable darkness, you both stood alone in the room. The maid wore a gentle, but brittly cold smile as she looked straight at you. It is not your fault misfortune befell you. The only force to blame for that is fate. You were always so kind, so pure of heart. You had boundless trust for others and the goodness of people. You are the very image of all that is right. There is no greater misfortune than someone as pure and beautiful as you, being mercilessly thrown into the grinding gears of tragedy again and again. I still pity for everything you had gone through. You poor, poor soul. You must be utterly exhausted, constantly betrayed, The man you were waiting for never appearing? And so long, your spirit worn down to the bone, you lost any and all awareness of who you even were. Who were you hoping to find wandering into this illusory mansion cut off from the real world? You and I are the only ones here. The man you seek is nowhere to be found. Have you still not figured it out? Then allow me to tell you everything. I am the cursed witch, Morgana, who haunts this mansion. And you are the tragic plaything of fate, the white-haired girl named Giselle. Did my calling you Master confuse you? If so, then I apologize. My habit of calling the Master, or Mistress, of the house Master is quite deeply ingrained. And yes, that means precisely what do you think it does? That I have accepted you as my new master. That I wish for you to remain here. To stay with me. So let us put an end to this journey. Do not worry, there is nothing to fear. We are simply going to step outside of the river of time. Nothing unpleasant will ever happen to you again. I will be here for you for all eternity, and I will give you my utmost care. You will not have to wait for anyone. Forget about him, the man you once sought, and I am sure you will find happiness. Please, do it for me. I have been waiting for you for so very long. Why? I have wanted nothing more than to see you again. But you've seen her several times. But you were continually stolen away from me, despite my sincerest desires to spend my days with you. Which is why I wanted you to recall everything. For surely you would not willingly repeat the same fate, if you knew all the pain it caused you to suffer thus far. Spend eternity with me, in the gentle embrace of darkness. The maid extended her hand for you. Not until I save. Holy shit. Holy shit. Okay. Whew. Her fingers, brushing up against yours, were as cold as ever. But her breath tickled your skin pleasantly, and her sweet words rang into your ears, filling you with warmth. You thought back to your time with her in the mansion. She had indeed always treated you with great compassion, and nothing she had seemed to be a lie. And so you pondered, what were you to do? Okay. Nah, this can't be it. This can't be the end. There's still more to be done. That was an easy decision to be made. Something seemed off. Not only with the story she had just told, with her, and with you yourself. Assuming everything she had said was the truth. Which or not, my mind is made up. Which will strike you first, I wonder? Regret or the curse? You seem to be doing just fine. It's only a tale. The witch is real, very much so. It is not a legend nor a fairy tale. The witch is me. That's right. It wasn't the white-haired girl who had claimed to be the witch. And that wasn't all. Or do you mean to reclaim your old self no matter the cost? If you do, if you're sincerely prepared to do that, then be wary of the tale that comes next. Ah, okay. Any tragedy that seems too beautiful to be real. Oh, that's what he's. Okay. Is precisely that. A fabrication. He was being literal there. Okay. None of your questions had been answered. You still didn't know who the painting was, or what had taken place so long ago that caused the mansion to summon people to it. You didn't even know who you were, for that matter. There was still more to be done. You had to find the truth. You needed to find someone. That much was certain. But was the story the maid told correct about whom? And if it was, what about her? What about the woman whose name you couldn't say? The woman who had so cheerfully called you master? We agreed that we would live together, not just in the same house. So we got plenty of time to add more to the list. Oh, so this isn't Giselle, maybe? And I hope you can make your own list about me, too. This is just the beginning, after all. We've got a long, long time ahead of us. Plenty enough to get to know each other, no? You must say her name. You must take her hand. You must make her smile once again. You mustn't reclaim your old self. It's dark. Dark. It's dark. It's dark again. It's dark, 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 dark. Constantly. Constantly engulfed in darkness. You threw it away every single time. I must break out of this darkness. I'll give you a world that's not cruel to you. I must escape and take her hand. Because that's the reason. Oh, I've got a wonderful idea. I came here. Curse them with me. I must return. I must reclaim. We can think of new ways to torture them. We'll all be happier if you stay here. We just think about it. Stay here in this world. You'll be right at home. No, I did the best I could for you, nothing more. This is not where I belong. No matter how much of a world of darkness may suit me, you'll never be able to do it. I must reclaim my true self. Reclaim yourself. Well, we only got one option. This is brilliant. Do you have any idea how terrible the decision that is? Do you have any idea why I fabricated that story? It was all for you. So stay here. Stay right where you are. The darkness suits you better. Reclaim yourself. Remember what someone told you not long ago? That you could handle the stories because they weren't your own. That you were able to bear the tragedies because they happened to others. If that had been your suffering, if the secrets you had kept buried away for so long had come out, you couldn't possibly have endured it. Reclaim yourself. But you're a sharp one. I'm sure you intend to put those secrets tucked away forever. Do you really think I'm going to let you do that, though? Whatever you try to hide, I'll make sure your beloved hears every last detail. Reclaim yourself. Ah, how foolish can you be? Despite all my encouragement, you still insist on getting your old self back? What do you have to gain from that? Nothing but filthy, ugly tragedy awaits you down this path.
You don't know if you don't try, though. Reclaim yourself. Come on. Come on. Give me something good. Don't get your hopes up, my dear. There's nothing for you there. You have nothing. I'm offering you a place by my side. You should just take it. There is no salvation for you anywhere. None. At all. Anywhere. From anyone. Ever. Nope. We're going for it. She has long since lost all grip on reality. And you think there's anything you can do for her now? Despite having repeatedly failed to even regain yourself. Okay, so... No, I think we are... We've got to be Michael, right? Because now he's talking about her. Reclaim yourself. Well, I suppose if you're going to be stubborn, as much as I don't want to, I have to place a curse on your soul. That's right. The white-haired girl was never at the mansion. Who are you? There is still a story left untold. What? The fourth door was all a lie. What do you mean? It was not some sweet little tragedy. The story you told was pure fantasy. No, that was the truth. That is where it all began. Because of what happened to you, you spent innumerable years lost, until you showed up here and... What? You reach out, grasping for it. You pull yourself in. Your silhouette, which has been hazy until now, begins to take form. Your mind, your consciousness, your heart, your soul, and your body. Who are you? The veil in your mind dissipates. A crack forms in the shell encasing you, then another. The invisible shackles chaining your spirit fall to the floor. Reality fades in atop the distinct foggy world around you. Bony fingers appear before your eyes. Long hair. Your voice? No. My voice. My body. My fingers. My arms are frail and my joints weak. But despite my resemblance to the white-haired girl, I am not her. This is who I am. Did Michael project his view of himself onto this other girl? I have finally reclaimed myself. You weren't waiting for the white-haired girl. You were waiting for me. And that's exactly why I came here. What? I have no idea what you are talking about. I have always waited for the white-haired... There was never a white-haired girl. Oh! The maid's Giselle. The maid is Giselle, isn't she? There was only... This time I must say her name. She is... Giselle. There was only you. Yes! I am... Giselle? No,
No, I am not Giselle. I am a servant of the house. And I am the witch, the cause...
You're not a witch. The witch is someone else. Why do you insist that you're the witch? What changed you so much? The shadowy figure in the master bedroom, that was her. A glimpse into her past. I'm sure this is Giselle, but why is she so different? What happened to the spark she used to have? Where did the light she once shone upon the world go? I have to remember. I must remember. This cannot end until I have. This is no longer a story. No. What I need is to face my past and her heart. She was not even present in the story she made up. Everything about it had been changed. The past I lived in, the wounds she bore, were more grounded in the harsh reality, not wrapped in a film of fairy tale magic. That was the final tale, and it was all true. That's how it happened. It was all bittersweet story. No, how can you not see this? Yes, it was a beautiful tragedy, but was there even a scrap of humanity in it? Behind the 3 preceding doors, there had been a constant thread of ugliness and conflicting motivations, but there was hardly a trace of that behind the 4th door. The characters felt like nothing more than characters. Is that what you want to turn into? Is that what you want our history to become? Oh, our history? But I don't remember anything at all. You don't remember anything? No, I don't want to. I don't need a past or a future. All I have left inside me is uncertainty. Giselle. No. That is not my name. Please stop trying to confuse me. I'm fine with things the way they are. If it means I don't have to hurt, that's all I want. Oh. Is she trying to escape the loops? And this is... Okay. So please, just let me keep being the maid. Let me keep being a guide, not some foolish girl. Is that what she honestly desires? Does she want to cast aside her past for good? If so, then... Shit, I didn't save! No, we're... Not remembering isn't an option. But shit, I wish I saved. Well, I can save later. I can load my other one that I saved. No matter what she says, I know I'm right. And if she doesn't reclaim her old self, I'll never get her to say my name again. I know I'm being selfish here, but I can't do that. If you're afraid of what you might find, we can remember together. I haven't gotten everything back yet myself, so let's open the real door together. There are no other doors to open, but there is one that can only open by our hands because it exists between the two of us. Not a door with physical form, but the door to your heart. Little cheesy, but the door to... I grasp her unnaturally cold hand, a hand that long ago once held the warmth.
If she can't lead the way, then I have to. I must pick up the pieces of her erased history so we can both reclaim ourselves. Find the actual truth. No matter what we may uncover, I will not let go of this hand. No, I mustn't let go of it. Darkness falls over the world around us. The floor upon which we had been standing flickers out of existence, sending us dropping into an endless abyss. This dark pit, this is her door. Her history. Her heart. Let's try this one more time. It's not a sweet story, by any means. It's a story of betrayal, anger, hatred. We caused each other pain. But that's the road we traveled. And down that road lies all the answers. The fifth door. Okay. And this is 1099. Same year, if I'm not mistaken. Damn. I think, okay. First, need to save. Okay. I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna. Okay. Go down this way. No. Shit. We're actually gonna. Yeah, we'll do it this way. That way I can remember. Okay. And then... Okay. So, whenever I need to go back to other options, I'll go there. Okay. Phantasmagorical. Okay. So, we'll cut it there for the day, but holy shit! Boy, did that pick up real quick. I was like, this just seems to be going, like, ending super quick for that. Okay, so, yeah, so, okay. So, Giselle is the girl that's been the subject all the time. I'm just trying to figure out, is the white-haired girl, is that Michael throwing his own reflection onto her or something? I don't know. I honestly, I don't know what to think at all. So yeah. I don't even know what's to come now. But I'm very much looking forward to it. So, yeah, when we come back, let's get further down into the story, shall we? So, yeah, thanks for stopping by, whoever came on by. And I hope that you guys are staying safe and you're trying to have some fun in life. And, yeah, you know, once again, I hope that you're happy. And if you're not happy, I hope that you can sincerely find something to make you happy. And find something you can't, if everything in life's going wrong for you right now, hope that you can find something little to enjoy at least. Okay, well, like I said, I think I'll cut it here. And I'm actually thinking about not streaming tomorrow. My throat is really killing me. You could probably tell by my quieter voice at times, and also the I'm pretty sure there were certain points where it's like no sound came out of my throat at all. So I'm gonna go ahead and give my throat a rest for the day. But God, her being the girl is
an awesome twist. I like that. I like that a lot. But at the same time, even though I think that we're Michael, we haven't gotten confirmation on that yet for sure. So, yeah, let's see what happens. Okay. Stay safe, everybody. Please take care, and hope that you're staying happy. I'll see you next time. I'll make an announcement on Vines when I'm going to continue. Alrighty, guys. Good night.